Hi, viewers. Welcome back to The Voice Show with me, Videlis, which happens at Science TV. And that was my side name. So this show happens every Friday at 7:30 in the evening to 8 p.m. So we meet here every Friday, same time. So next to me is my guest. So I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Thank you. So my name is Ruth Ojo. I'm the city director for disabled women in Africa, based in Malawi. My no vision it permit joins my profiles or large bits.
Thank you so much, the executive director. What motivated you to establish DIWA and what is the drive?
Well, actually, I'm not the one who launched DIWA. DIWA started in the year 2002. And at that time, women with disabilities had moved in Tanzania, where there were a workshop and women had come from the various countries. And in their convening, women had find a common purpose and understanding that disability issues that women are facing that are not being included in most of the key platforms were almost similar. The challenges that the women with disabilities experience are similar, are not different in Africa. So, but they realize that even though women have successfully established at national level, there was no continental body that will really represent women with disability in regional and local spaces. We have the possibility of them being able to influence policies. So they together, women from South Africa, women from Malawi, uh, and in Tanzania, then they came up with the IWA Disabled Women in Africa. So one of those women that founded it, the late Madam Rachel Kashajen, who was also the former minister of disability in Malawi, founded this along with other women. Uh, and of course, now she's late. But at that time, I now worked along with her. That was in the year 2012 that I joined it because when DIWA was established, we worked under SAFOD for quite some time, Southern Africa Federation of the Disabled. But then later we had the IWA established in Zimbabwe, Bulawayo. For quite some time, it operated in Zimbabwe, but later in 2012, DIWA came to be headquartered in Malawi. So that was the time that I had joined. And for me, looking at the persistent challenges that women and girls with disabilities continue to face, and I was already coming from also a civil society point of view where I had the promote the rights of women in general, but also sexually exploited children. And now I'm at that exposure, even working with lots of marginalized women. Joining MIWA was such a feeling area for me because I've always wanted to promote the rights of marginalized groups and person looking at that I also had that kind of disability. Then it all worked together until in the year 2020 when the late Madam Rachel Gashaje passed away. Then there was transition of leadership. Yeah.
Condolences to one of the founder, Madam Rachel. She left a very huge legacy. Moving forward, now the leadership that you've worked with, the projects that you have been able to spearhead, and also working with different countries. And now that we understand that Malawi is the headquarter, you have also partnered with different countries. Now, I'd like to understand, we have diversity. I know we have some challenges that we're trying to address, and also diversity in culture. For you to be able to unite together, especially on the thematic of disability.
Yeah, well, I think like taking you back to the way we have worked, BIWA has faced a lot of challenges from its establishment. From I could say we have stayed a number of years, and it's been challenging to mobilize resources. We have not always been the way we are at the moment. So lack of funding limited us in a growing and even fulfilling our vision at certain point that we almost had to give up thinking that maybe we're not heading anywhere. Uh, and we know that in terms of funding, um, women with disability, women in general, and the feminist movement, they usually have maybe more resources compared to women with disability. And because of that, even our convening was very, very difficult, very, very challenging. And um, then I think we had we were able to mobilize few resources that we could only implement at country level. But we could not had a chance to do much country projects or even regional convenings, and even not to talk about us being able to penetrate and influence in those spaces that we once dreamed to really be there. But as time went by, then we look we after even after the leadership transition, we had to relook into our constitution. We had to reorganize. We had to, restructure. We had to look at the strategies and so on. And we are quite happy where we are right now that we are able. We are now moving into our purpose because we want to see issues of women being represented and influencing the gender and disability inclusion at the regional level, but also even at the global space, while building the capacity of women at national level. One of the things that we learned is that there are other countries whereby there are no um, uh, there's no existence of national networks, the organizing of women with disabilities at national level. And now for us we now step in to support that kind of process. For instance, in Malawi, there was no network of women and girls with disability for a long time. And that means that women were kind of disorganized in the way they would organize and influence. Everyone will have their own voice, and it makes it difficult for those that need to make decisions to be able to say that who are we going to listen to and do what are they exactly talking about. So now we stepped in and to provide that support and support the establishment of that network. Similarly, we go to Zambia. Zambia, it was the same chaos. The voice of women with disability was faint, but now we also stepped in and supported the women to be urbanized, and now we have the Zambia Federation of Women and Girls with Disability. We are not stopping there because one of our objectives is to really see that women with disabilities that are not organized, or even countries in where structures of women with disabilities are weak or they are not existing, we must ensure that we establish or we must strengthen those that are weak. So we are living that kind of objective. And so the occasion also to say that now looking at all these diversities in terms of even culture and all that. Yeah, I think for us it's also a learning journey. This is why DIWA, we have for the DIWA West Africa, DIWA East Africa, DIWA North, DIWA Southern Africa. So, like we know the five regions, and we cannot say that we are visibly present in both the five regions. We are steadily getting to have the physical places, but right now. The good news is that during our recent General Assembly that we held in June this year, 2025, we were able to elect regional representatives of those regions. So that means that it's no longer that the headquarters is the one that okay then you have to really order yourself much about what is really deeply happening, but you know that they are little representatives, they have their similar language, they are sharing similar culture, they are able to understand. So that kind of coordination makes it easy for our advocacy to be very much effective. Uh, But also, we know that the much as we say that in Africa, women with disabilities are sharing common challenges, but also in a way there's also some differences because, for instance, in West Africa, which could be a more of a Muslim society, they would have maybe, for instance, their own way of looking at things. For instance, I've just heard, even in this meeting we had today, that Burundi, for instance, has not signed the Maputo Protocol. Yet, as the viewer, we have got a member with Burundi, and yet also Maputo Protocol is one of the key convention that's is for women, women in Africa. That is a very strong pillar for advocacy for us in general. So if you look at that and look at, okay, this country, they are completely saying no, and they have both their own reasons. They're talking about maybe an Article 14 specifically that would bar them from, signing the Maputo Protocol. Now we need to understand these differences that our advocacy cannot be more of confrontational, but rather that kind of dialogue, understanding, but also looking at the pace which people are moving at, so that by the end of the day, our advocacy is not distracting, but rather is really bringing that change that we want and is protecting our women with disabilities wherever they are. So I think we really do bear into consideration celebrating the culture that is there, but also looking at the challenges and how we can work out of these challenges. Similarly, another example I'll give you, for instance, Rwanda. In Rwanda, they wouldn't want to hear the word movement. So they would, oh, movement, what are you talking about? So, there's those differences. If I go to Zambia, they don't want to hear me talking about intersectionality. They think you talk about intersectionality, they have their own way of responding to that. So, all these differences, you know that, okay, if I'm entering into this zone, this is how we must uh, put ourselves in. If I am going to a Muslim society, it doesn't hurt. I have to, make the you. I tell you something excellent. Charge baby. Yeah. Um, Greenness. Goes that this is Africa. Yeah. And I'm glad that when we look at the African Disability Protocol, is bringing that kind of African context, is addressing issues of harmful cultural practices. It is that means it is already considering the culture that it has got a role, that it plays to hinder the progress for people with disability.
Wow. I really love the way you are expressing yourself, how you're expressing, and also how you are explaining about the DUA. And I see it's really, really working hard. And now Malawi being the headquarter, I believe there's a lot that is happening. And now that you have also elected the regional leaders, I believe now they will be able to respect each and every country's or each and every region's cultures. So we are going to take a short break, but we will be right back and continue with this amazing discussion with our guest. Welcome back. Let us continue with our discussion with our guest. Madam Ruth has shared with us about the region leaders that they elected recently. And I've just remembered that talking about feminists, you mentioned that you mentioned, and also how do you trust the five regionals that you have already worked with and that are going to represent Africa? And sometimes you see when we talk about feminists, the society thinks that women are becoming rude, they're having a lot of attitude, they want to be like men, they want to take the position. So how do we make sure that each and everyone is understood, and also how do you aim to establish the policy that is going to protect all our feminists and our regional leaders? And how does DIWA relate with? Is it about feminist, or are we talking about gender? Especially with an addition of the word femicide. They are saying that, they are killed because they do not want to listen. This is happening because of what is happening. What can you say about that?
Well, so I think we are saying, for instance, a woman with disability, you are a woman first, before disability. And so everything that concerns women, it concerns you. This is why, for the first time, we had mobilized women with disability in Malawi, and we had come to Geneva, Switzerland, where we were engaging with the UN bar. The CEDAW committee, the UN CEDAW committee, and they were surprised to see women with disability, because for them, for a long time, it is just the women, the feminists that are in this kind of spaces and forgetting for their likes. And nowhere are women with disabilities seen. So he said, no, 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 I think we need to break this, because when we talk about women with disability, there are also women, there are also feminists with disabilities, and we need to be in those kind of spaces. And when we look at CEDAW, it's talking about a woman, so we should not discriminate ourselves to say that no, this is for this particular woman. We should not just be recognized in the documents that are to do with women with disability or persons with disability. We want to be in those kind of spaces. So our places there really influenced the concluding recommendations that this committee had made towards Malawi. For the first time, we had this kind of report that has considered women with disabilities, and we presented issues in various angles, whether as feminists but also as women with disabilities. So we are saying that it's not just about women. Women with disabilities are also feminist disabilities. We have various interests. Even though women will also have various interest because we are human beings and we have these rights that we can participate in most of these key issues. So I think when we talk about how do we relate now, even with the society, even in the lives of this issue of femicide? I think it's for it's just maybe lack of understanding, and we have a lot of work that we maybe to do to bring this awareness, but also us seeing the men as adults, because right now we are talking about male engagement. How do we engage male? Recently, we're doing a study in Zambia. That was, I think, weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we were doing data collection in Zambia. One of the questions we're asking was, uh, when last you, like in the past year, how many women have experienced GBV? And the very alarming, almost 79% had experienced GBV, but very few of them, a handful, like 20 something, were able to report these incidences. So, one, even the women with disabilities, they don't know where to report, they don't have the right information, but also sometimes those that will get the information, sometimes they will get it wrong way, in a way that they will, bring it in spaces that are not relevant, or maybe carry the message in a long way. But also, we find out that those that even do perpetrate violence uh, against women are those that are even close to them. The rape that is happening, women with disabilities, most of them are being left by friends, by relatives, and so on. So I think it's about how do we bring in these people so that we can work them, so that they can understand, so that when we are in this space, it's not that we are against, okay, but how do we work together in such a way? So I think for us as a Dewa, is for us to be concerned about bringing awareness to our women, because for a long time, our women have been left behind to be in spaces where they talk about issues of that concerns their body autonomy, the SRH issues, and all that. But also, it's just that maybe there hasn't been more reporting of femicide taking place on the side of women with disability. But there is, we listened to, they had cases where said the woman had been reporting to their relatives, this man does this. But say, oh, no, this is not like that. By the end of the day, the woman is killed. So there are those cases, but there hasn't been clear documentation. I'll tell you that many years ago, I think around 2016, 17, 18, we had been doing a lot of advocacy with the Malawi government, particularly with the Malawi police. Looking at the registry, there is no any reporting of the data that is segregated by disability. You just find that it's male and female who has reported. So you don't know whether this person is, so you don't know to what extent are persons with disabilities are experiencing violence, or those that are being killed. You don't know. You go to the court as well. It's the same thing. It's just male and female. And our advocates had brought fruits. By the end of the day, now, as we had told you, we have the registry that now has considered that a disability aspect. The issue is, if we are not there, it's difficult that as even those that are collecting data could be able to consider those aspects. Yeah, so I think well, women with disabilities can be anything. They have feminists, they have body autonomy, they have, all these rights to do with the sexual and gender-based rights. I mean, yeah, sexual and reproductive rights.
It's really, really shocking. And also hearing that there is no segregation of gender-based violence reports at the administration. And I know that they're facing a lot of challenges. So I think it's a very thing. And I know for us to achieve this should be a very long journey. And I believe women such as you can help us to transform. And in future, we can get transformation under DUA. Also, what are the some opportunities that you have moving forward that the viewers would want to benefit from your program?
Yes. Like now, um Viewer is a Pan African personality network, and it has got members currently over 33 members in the 22 African nations. But we are still open and continuing open to receive, because there are other countries, for instance, Ghana, we do not have a member yet. There are, Gambia. There are other countries that they have not yet become members, and it's because some of them maybe don't know, and we are trying to develop strategies on how we can bring this awareness that we can actually have members those countries. So we are really open those that are interested. Do our works with the national uh, organizations or networks of women and those with disability. So, but also to know that we are trying our best to see that women with disabilities are self-representing themselves in these key forums, talk of national level, talk of regional level, and the global spaces. So whenever we have the funding available, we are able to support or sponsor women to participate in those key forums, and see that they are able to influence the gender and disability inclusion in those key policies. Recently, or in the Ghana, with the African Union, where we were influencing the disability inclusion into the model role on gender equality and equity. So you can see that that one is not entirely talking about disability, but we see that this is a very key regional document that will be actually adopted by member states actually in November this year. But we see that no, even though we already have a model law on disability, but we can infiltrate in this document as well and see aspects that can benefit women and girls with disability. So yeah, you can stay tuned or even on our Facebook page, or whenever you can like us, but also you can follow us, see what's happening, what we are doing, and we are so excited to the next phase of our existence, and we are keen to grow and reach more countries. Thank you.
Any country that is part of our viewers, you are free to register and join DUA. Now, our final question. Do you, do you have any final message that you feel you can convey to our viewers, especially those with disabilities?
Yes. So women with disabilities and girls with disabilities, I think it's high time we move out of our comfort zone. I was so excited to hear women with disabilities that are not waiting to be repeated, to be looked down, and to give us things because of our condition. But we are now coming out that we can really demonstrate that we are able. We have the ability. We have always sang this song, disability is not inability. So we really need to demonstrate that. And I want each and every one of us, wherever we are, that we must begin to do something and believe in ourselves. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, nobody will come and believe in us. We need to show them, even when we are selected to be put in key positions, we are not there just to fill the seat. Because already the society there, they are looking at us and judging us by our identity as persons with disability. But we must be in that space and we must demonstrate that they can be able to see beyond our disability, that we have got potential, that we can change. Even when we get into the political arena, we need to demonstrate there that we can do it. And also just to improve us that yes, let us be in groups, in networks. This is where you learn so many things. There are so many women with this journey in terms of education, because education is really very important, but also even taking them to participate in those spaces. They will not be the same again. They will be inspired, they will be moved to action, but also they can be able to participate even economically in the country. Thank you.
So let's meet in the next show.